Good morning, everybody. It's Jess from The Speckled Sheep, and I am here today for part 2 of the pottery delivery, as promised. So, for today, I am showing you guys the new arrival of yarn bowls. And I know you're all super excited, just like we are. Yarn bowls are something that we've been waiting for over a year to get more in, and we already have more on order because they always go super quickly, and we've got a great selection of options today. So let me show them to you. The one I am zoomed in on right now is just kind of showing how a yarn bowl works. In here we have our skein of yarn complete with our needles, and kind of showing how you pull your yarn out of the spiral of the yarn bowl. What do we love most about our yarn bowls? Well, these are again made by local potter Amy Burke, and she takes her yarn bowls, let me zoom out a little bit here. She makes her yarn bowls very specifically for us. She didn't know what they were when we first commissioned her to make some, and we specifically went over what we like and don't like about different types of yarn bowls and what our needs for yarn bowls are. And this is her basic design, and she's made some different variations for us over the years since then as well. But this is her first and basic, most classic design. First, she puts in the spiral, which is quintessential for a yarn bowl, right? We need something to be able to pull our yarn out. Then we have the, give me one second here to put these down. Laurel's bringing me over the fresh stack. So, we have the spiral. She also has these two beautiful little holes. Now, they work great as decoration. They also work if you wanted to feed your yarn more permanently through the bowl. They work to feed your yarn through. But what she designed them for was to have your needles hang out in them. So you can see here, when you put your project down, now I don't have an actual project started here, but the idea is when you put your project down, you just stick your needles in the holes, and it holds your complete project looking super adorable and ready for you at any point in time. So those holes are on every yarn bowl she makes, and I will show you the other variations that she has as well. The other things that we talked about, we wanted them to have a lot of weight to them. We wanted them to be heavy, because what was happening was people were making yarn bowls and they were just after the shape, but they weren't making them heavy enough. And so when you actually go to pull more yarn when you're knitting, you don't end up with enough counterweight, and you end up kind of pulling your yarn bowl off the table, or you pull it up or unseat it or something like that. So they have some good weight to them to counter your pulling. She also did a good job. She works very hard to keep these as smooth as she can, because some of them that we were finding were very, very rough. Either they were unfinished wood or they were very rough clay, and they could damage your yarn. She works very hard to keep these smooth enough that they're not going to harm your yarn. So that's fantastic. The idea when working with your yarn in the yarn bowl is that you're going to be able to pull it out nicely. Some people work with them on the table. Some people work with them beside them on the table, on the floor. And in that case, you can pull up. You can see my yarn spinning away in there as I pull. And that is the whole point of using a yarn bowl. It's going to feed your yarn out to you at a great rate. So, let's talk colors. What do I have? Well, I have purple, like I'm showing you here. And of course, the purple is color number 1, just like in the mugs. So the purple is a beautiful color. It's kind of got that beautiful mirror-like finish. It's got the two little holes on the side for the basic one. Of course, they're hand-thrown pottery. They're all going to be a little bit different. The glaze is going to react a little bit different to every pot. They're going to be slightly different shaped, but that's what makes them so wonderful. They are $50. So all of the basics and even the lace are $50. The only ones that are more expensive are the alpaca sheep version. We have that in a yarn bowl too. Those are $55. So again, for more of the plain, I have color number 6 here. And color number 6 is a beautiful kind of slate gray blue. It's very, very lovely. Inside and out looks fantastic. And it kind of gets this really fun, see if you can see it in here, this really fun kind of color variation to it in the glaze, depending on how thick or thin it is in some areas. And I really love that about this particular color. Then I have the waterfall blue, color number 3. And this one has, you know, it's going to show off those beautiful kind of ridges from the wheel very nicely. As it settles, it's going to show different hues of the color. This is one of our favorite colors. I absolutely love it, and it is so pretty. I love the speckling effect that it gets as well. Such a lovely yarn bowl. Then we have lace variations of these bowls. And when we say a lace variation, I'll show you what I mean. So the lace bowls look like this, and this has the same concept. It's still a yarn bowl. It's got the beautiful swirl. It still has 2 little holes for your needles, and it is very open and airy looking. She's got kind of a plant motif going on here. She hand cuts out all of these designs and does little imprints at the top to keep a floral theme going. And the lace bowls again are $50. And they show the same amount of work and craftsmanship. They're absolutely lovely, still very smooth, and they do let your yarn pull out gorgeously. So you can see it's going to just work absolutely flawlessly like a yarn bowl, just like we want. Some benefits to that bowl are that it's a little bit more decorative, so people really like that. Now, because there is the lace cutaway, it does make it a little bit lighter. Keep that in mind, but it's fairly marginal. And then the other thing that people like to do with these is obviously adding to your collection of yarn bowls. They're very unique. I don't know of anybody else who really does those, at least not in the area. And they double as fruit bowls very nicely. People love them. People who don't knit or crochet or have any kind of fiber interest whatsoever take these home to use as fruit bowls or vegetable bowls in their kitchen as well, and they just look absolutely lovely. So we have the lace bowl there. I have another lace bowl here. It looks like I have 2 available at the moment. This is color number 7. This is my only white bowl at the moment, but it is a beautiful lace bowl, and I love this particular one. I think the shape of it is just stunning. I love how the lace looks in it. I think it's fantastic, and I think that it sets off the swirl just lovely. And again, we still have our 2 holes here for our needles, and it's all very nice and smooth. She does everything she can to keep that as smooth inside as she can for a smooth pull of your yarn. The last style of yarn bowl I have to show you is the number 5. This is the same concept as the number 5 in our mugs. It is a sheep and alpaca bowl. So again, we have the same beautiful concept. We've got the beautiful swirl for holding our yarn. We have the 2 holes for holding our needles. But this time she's etched in some rolling hills. She's put on some hand-decorated alpacas and sheep, and she's glazed it in that variety of colors that give that beautiful kind of rolling hill, mountains in the background, beautiful variety of glazes with the sheep and the alpaca on the bowl. So when you have that sitting, it definitely looks very fiber friendly. I have a variety. I have several of them. Looking at 3 here off the top of my head. I might have more as well. Laurel was, like I said, doing some unpacking of these. And they just look absolutely fantastic. We always sell out of these ones super well. People just absolutely love them. And of course, every variation that she gets in, that we get in from her, the glazes might react differently that day that she fired, or she might try out different blues or greens or what have you. So they're always different. I particularly love the insides of these bowls because she does them in the brown, and I love the look of that glaze just melting and flowing through the interior of the bowl. It really shows off the hand-thrown quality of the bowls. Now, that is, and again, these ones are 55 because they have that extra work in them. That said, what types of yarn do you use in a yarn bowl? Any yarn that you have caked or balled. So if you use a ball winder and you create a cake of yarn, any yarn that is going to be round and roll well enough. Basically, any yarn can be used in these yarn bowls. The only one in particular that I would avoid is something that is a particularly slinky yarn that's going to like always fall apart, and that would be not because of the bowl at all, just because it's a problematic yarn to work with. These bowls shine with donut balls. Donut balls can be a really big pain for a lot of knitters. People don't like to use them. And what do I mean by a donut ball? I mean this shape of yarn. So this is Pendenza by Plymouth, and that donut ball, it looks like a donut. That is what I mean by a donut ball. And what happens, you can see here, this is a brand new skein just out of the bag, but what you can see here is those layers, the way that they are wound, like to try and fall off and kind of slough off the ball. So what the yarn bowl does is hold them together and keep everything nice and neat and tidy. These bowls are great for anyone with kids or pets, especially cats who like to participate in your knitting or crocheting. They keep your ball, out of the pet hair, off of the floor, in one space. Your ball's not rolling all around underneath your chair, underneath the couch, and it works for all types of balls that have been done. We also spoke to Amy, and we had her specifically make our yarn bowls fairly wide and open feeling, so that they hold a larger cake of yarn or ball of yarn. Typically, the ones that we see from a retail point of view are smaller, and they only hold certain sizes of yarn. These, they fit a good size ball of yarn. Even the 200-gram Paradigm Shift works very nicely in these. There are other styles that she does for us, double yarn bowls for color work, etc. But right now we're very happy to have this selection that we do. They make wonderful gifts, and I've known several people who have collections of them, and we of course use them all the time. They are a must-have knitting accessory, and we just love that they are locally produced and made, and that we help design them as well. They just have everything we love about them. All right, guys. Well, again, these bowls will be listed on our website for sale. You can grab them online, reserve yours, and have it set aside for in-store pickup or porch pickup. You can have it shipped to you, whatever you like. They're amazing bowls, wonderful pieces of art, as well as fully functional pieces. And of course, you can have one that matches your very own mug from the other day's video. So, for example, you could be drinking your coffee out of your sheep and alpaca mug and pulling your yarn out of your sheep and alpaca yarn bowl. So, everyone needs to be matching and coordinated in their knitting accessories, and I think that's a perfect way to do it. All right, guys, have a wonderful day. We'll be back with another video. Have a great time knitting.